If you've just found this video, I'm assuming it's because you're in perimenopause and you don't know where to turn. I went through the ringer with perimenopause, and since I started talking about it just over a year ago, I have spoken to hundreds of women, and I have realized and learned so much that I'm going to try and condense into a little video, a summary to help you get on your way so that this process is a lot easier for you than it was for me and a lot of my other peers. I think the first thing to know about perimenopause that's so helpful is that it happens in stages. I think of it as 3 stages, and that is a disintegration, a deconstruction, and then a reconstruction. When you're in disintegration, it's almost like you're falling apart, like you're sand and you're just breaking apart. And often you don't realize it until you're halfway through and you're almost gone. You don't recognize yourself. You feel terrible. You don't have energy. You've lost so much of yourself. You don't do the things you used to do. You don't find joy in the things you used to do. You might be behaving, I say badly, and as in rage moments. I had many of those where I'm ashamed of my behavior. Then that mother guilt is so bad. That's the disintegration phase. And then the next phase is the deconstruction. That's where your parts are basically all over the floor and you're looking at all these different parts and you're going, all right, what does this all mean? And then the final part is the reconstruction, and that's putting all these parts back together again. But the reconstruction is not reconstructing yourself as you were. It's reconstructing yourself a better you. It's finding a way to live that feels so good and so right for you, and understanding how you want to live for the rest of your life in a way that's going to suit you. And that reconstruction is really an awesome phase. And what the product at the end of that is so awesome. So what I want to say to you is that there is hope. To get there, I know it's a little bit of an obstacle course. So the next thing I want to talk about is medication. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy around HRT, but it is really helpful. HRT does get a bad rep, but I urge you to look at more research. There is a woman on TikTok called Dr. Mary Claire Haver. She also goes by the handle The Pause Life, and she's really good. She puts up a lot of regular research or recent research about HRT and how good it is for you. But also stuff, even if the bad stuff comes out, she puts up everything. So inform yourself. If you've got cancer in the family, you might want to go to a doctor, but go to a menopause specialist. Google menopause specialist, and that's who you want to be treated by, not just any old GP, because they haven't learned enough about menopause and women's health. The next thing to understand when it comes to HRT is that often with perimenopause, people think their hormones are doing this in this stage of their life, but they're not. Your hormones are doing this. Before you had a cycle, a regular cycle. Now your hormones are all over the place. So HRT is going to help when your hormones are dipping too low. But when they're going too high, it's not going to help. So you're still going to feel a little shitty. It's just going to help the lows not feel so bad. But also when you're dropping in estrogen and progesterone, it has negative effects on your body. For example, estrogen is found in almost every cell in your body. So if you're not dropping too low in that, you're going to help with bone strength, cardiac, helping with your heart. And there's a whole lot of other things, fatigue. But again, when I say do your research. The next thing I want to talk about is anxiety and depression. My anxiety got really bad during perimenopause. I never had it before. It got really bad. So I just accepted eventually I had to go on an anti-anxiety medication. It took me 2 years to get on one, and it was life-changing. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like to go on medication, maybe be open-minded about it and see a doctor, and maybe you might, for this period of your life, need to do that. The next thing is there are natural routes if you don't like medication at all. For example, I've heard great things about wild yam cream as an estrogen replacement. I'm not a doctor. Please don't take this as gospel. And also there are ways to feed yourself. You could see a dietitian. There are ways to feed yourself to increase your estrogen. I believe tofu has a lot of estrogen in it. So there are ways to help yourself if you don't want to go the medical route. So do your research. There are people, find people, look on TikTok, look on YouTube, look on Instagram, look everywhere. You will find the person that can help you. The next thing I wanted to talk about is seeing a psychologist or a counselor or a therapist, especially one that specializes in menopause. So there is a psychologist in Perth. Her name is Kirsten Bose. She runs the All About Her Center as well. I think that's allabouthercenter.com.au. And that's a whole group of professionals that help women with perimenopause and menopause. And the reason why is often us women, because of society and the way we've been raised, and it's hard for us to say no, and we have all this mother guilt, and we're trying to be a mother, and we're also trying to be a career woman, and we're trying to be so many things. We struggle with the deconstruction and the reconstruction phase because we have to say no more often. We have to do things for ourselves. We have to become more selfish. We have to look at ourselves and what we want from our lives. And therapy can definitely help you do that. It helps you voice your frustration and your pain, the pain of suddenly stepping back and realizing you've done so much for so many other people. And as Kirsten put it, you've spent your life self-actualizing or actualizing other people without getting much actualization in return. You don't even self-actualize yourself a lot of the time. So that's where therapy comes into play. And the next thing I want to talk about is nutrition. And I know you don't want to hear it because nutrition, like, it's the last thing you want to think about. You're tired, you're just hungry, you just want to get something in your mouth, and you don't want anything else to spend any extra energy on. But it is so important because the first thing you want to do is reach for carbs. Those spike your sugar levels and then drop your sugar levels, and then it makes you want to eat carbs to raise them quickly again. And this spike just makes your anxiety, your brain fog, fatigue, all of that so much worse. So if you can, all you need to do, you don't have to go on a diet or anything, just eat in a way that maintains your sugar levels in your body as best as possible. So those are things like eating a protein if you do have a carb, not having high sugary carbs, like too many fruits in one go. See a dietitian, or you could follow my twin, Tanya Dale. She's a dietitian. She's got Bright Life Health on TikTok. She's a dietitian and she speaks about this stuff as well. Then the next thing I wanted to talk about as well is exercise. I go, again, exactly like nutrition, I know what you think. You're like, oh, I don't have time and energy. I don't want to do that. All you have to do is walk. All you have to do is walk, and preferably after a meal. Just go for 10 minutes, put some shoes on, go for 10 minutes, put on some music you like, and just go for a walk. Take some time out for yourself. Get away from the family, get away from everyone and anyone, and just go for a walk. You don't have to walk fast. You don't have to achieve anything. Just go for a walk. You will not believe the difference it makes. It gets the energy moving around the body. It actually helps lower the blood sugar levels or improve the blood sugar levels in the body, and it helps clears the mind. That's all you have to do. So hopefully that's just a very quick summary. It does get better. You will feel better. You'll feel like an amazing person. A lot of cultures believe it is the flowering of the woman. You become an incredible contribution to society. You are wise. You have so much value. And this is just the beginning of a wonderful period. I promise you, get through this, do the work, you've got this.